This spot looks pretty good right here, guys. Got a ton of cormorants in the water, birds diving. Oh, just saw some fish popping. All right, guys, so today is June 3rd, and today I'm on the north side of Montauk at one of my favorite early season spots, Culloden Point. It is getting towards the end of the outgoing tide. Oh my gosh, I got a lot of fish, breaking water. And I've got about 2 hours left of the outgoing tide, so the current right now is pushing to the right. And I just got here and there's birds diving and there's fish popping up. I think I'm gonna do pretty well today. I'm gonna wade out to a small little rock out here in front of me and try and catch some fish right now. Hopefully some striped bass and some bluefish. I'm gonna start off throwing this little tiny 1.5 ounce crippled herring here. And the main bait fish that are around right now in the early season are silver sides and some sand eels. So hopefully this crippled herring will look appealing to some striped bass and bluefish that are around. So, hopefully I can catch some fish. There's a bite. There he is. Fish on. Something small, nothing too big. On a 1.5 ounce crippled herring. Small little striper on the north side here, Montauk. Not a bad size schoolie right there for June 3rd. Some early season striper action. I got some silver sides, it looks like, out there. Tons of birds, and I decided to throw this 1.5 ounce crippled herring and just connected with the first little schoolie of the day. Not a bad start. Hopefully there's some bigger ones around. Let's catch some more. Let's catch some more. Today, in my opinion, is a perfect day to be out here trying to catch some fish. Overcast, cloudy skies. It's raining on and off. Real humid out here today. And it's causing some of the bass that are in the area to get on the feed and push some of the bait up to the surface. And the birds are diving, so the stripers are really gorging themselves today. There's not many fish here, but there's a few. Caught that one small little schoolie, right off the bat since I got to the water. And I'm seeing quite a few fish popping up here and there in different areas. So there's quite a few fish around. There he is, got him. I'm hoping this is another small bass. The gear I'm using right now is a little bit on the heavier side. This is like my tackle for fishing up under the lighthouse, or for catching 20, 30 pounders. But I needed a setup that I could really, oh, he fell off. I needed a setup that I could really whip something really far out there and try and cover a lot of water. Way out there. I'm just doing a real nice slow retrieve right now, nothing too fast, and then I'm pausing it, letting it drop down, and then I'm jigging it up. And the whole reason for me pausing it and letting it drop down is that causes that crippled herring to kind of sink and flutter, and then I jig it back up to flutter it again, but on the way up. And usually a lot of times bass will hit it right after I jig it, causing that crippled herring to kind of go up and then flutter back down. Haven't had a bite in a while after I lost that second fish, and right now I'm using 40-pound test Blue Label Seaguar Fluorocarbon and a big clip on here. I'm gonna take this 40-pound off and put on 30-pound and try tying direct, and maybe that'll help me get me a few more bites. Let's try it out. All right, guys, so I downsized a little bit. I made this 40-pound leader a 30-pound test Blue Label Seaguar Fluorocarbon leader, and I was gonna tie direct, but for whatever reason I like the action that a clip gives to the bait, because it allows it to swing freely. So I just attached and put on a smaller clip basically, and also because I want to be able to switch to a bunch of different size crippled herrings and maybe even throw on like a small bucktail too as well. So that's why I like fishing with a clip. But so I downsized a little bit. Let's try casting out there and see if I can get myself some more bites. This crippled herring just flies out there. It's a real small, tiny bait, but you know, I've caught stripers as small as 10 inches on the crippled herring, and I've caught stripers up to 25 pounds, surprisingly, on a small little crippled herring. It's perfect for matching, you know, small bait that's in the water, and it's killer for when you're matching peanut bunker. It really just hammers fish when they're on peanut bunker. I'm kind of tempted right now to switch to the 1/2 ounce crippled herring, but I'm going to take a few more casts with this 1.5 ounce and see what happens. There he is, fish on. This one might be a little bit bigger than the first one. It definitely paid off switching to, you know, some lighter leader and you know, a smaller clip. I think it's a small bass. I really wish I had my light tackle gear. These little guys would be really fun on that. Oh, he fell off again. You guys decide whether or not that fish counts as a land. It was pretty close, but I didn't touch him. I think there's a few more of them over here. Hopefully I can get some more. There he is. Fish on. Make sure I hook this one good. He's not coming off. This one might be a little bigger too. Maybe an inch bigger, not much bigger. There we go. Nice little schoolie. Hey, crazy striper. On that crippled herring, just like that. These guys would be really fun on some light tackle or a fly rod. Nice fish. Real skinny schoolie. See you later, little buddy. Oh, he's swimming the wrong way. He's over there in about like 5 inches of water. He'll find his way. Let's try and catch a few more before this tide is over. Probably around 45 minutes left of the outgoing tide. Nice slow steady retrieve. Give it a jig here and there. There he is. Yeah, they're definitely moving a little bit closer right now. As the tide starts to slow down a little bit, you know, and get towards the end, they're moving a little bit closer, and you know, they're starting to feed a little bit better. Man, that's like the fourth fish. That's the second fish that's fallen off right in front of me. That's like the fourth one that, you know, has just gotten off and I haven't touched them. Wow. I know exactly where they're at though now, and they're moving a little bit closer. So, you know, I'm getting a lot more bites now. So even though that one fell off, it doesn't matter. I'll get another. You know, it's not like I'm catching 30 pounders, but hey, they're fun. It's something. There he is. I know exactly where they're at now. I bet you there's probably one fish around here 28 inches or so. There's usually always a larger fish swimming around with schoolies this size. You know, the larger fish usually is on the bottom, you know, picking up the scraps. This is a chunky little football striper right here. Little chunky belly, getting stuffed up with all that bait. You know, they're liking the crippled herring right now. There he is, fish on the half-ounce crippled herring, right in front of me, not that far out. Nice little guy. Easy, buddy, easy. Crazy striper, crazy. Nice little guy though, on that little half-ounce crippled herring. See you later, buddy. Let's whip it way out there and get a striper. Oh, there's a bite. There he is. That one hit pretty good. Oh, this is a bigger fish right here, guys. This is definitely a bigger fish. Oh boy. I think he's a bigger fish. I don't know, he's got really big head shakes. This is definitely a little bit bigger, unless he had me on a rock or something. He doesn't feel that heavy, but man, this fish was shaking his head pretty good. Yeah, he's not really that much bigger at all. Slightly bigger, but this little bass was shaking his little head really hard for a little fish like this. He ate it right on the lip there. Whoop, popped right out. See you later, buddy. He's swimming all the way over there. All right, Fishaholics, that was a pretty decent little, schooly sesh. Fished for about an hour and a half. Caught a bunch of, smaller size striped bass. Nothing huge. I saw one fish that was at least 28, definitely over 28 to maybe 38 inches. Right next to me in 2 feet of water. Came up and, smashed on some bait. And, too bad I couldn't hook up with that fish. But usually, a lot of the fish that are real close along the shoreline are really picky and selective. They probably would hit, a small little fly that, perfectly matched the hatch of the little silver-side minnows. But, when you have a huge school of bait, along the shoreline here and you only have a couple fish, it's a lot harder to get that bite that you want from that larger fish. That's why today I was using a heavier setup. I was using my 9-foot medium moderate action St. Croix Triumph surf casting rod and my 250 Van Staal, and I was throwing this crippled herring because the larger mass of fish seemed to be way offshore, way out on the end of the cast, except for a couple fish, that I caught on the smaller crippled herring. And, since those fish are way out there, I needed a tool that I could use to cast way out there to reach those fish. And, I probably will come back here on the same tide tomorrow or maybe later in the day, and maybe I'll come here in my kayak to see if I can get into some light tackle action on my light tackle spinning rod and as well as maybe even the fly rod. But, today was an outgoing tide. It was the end of the outgoing tide, and I'm just going to note a key, thing that you guys should know if you've never fished Montauk and you're thinking about fishing Montauk is, there's two different shores that I like to call the north side and the south side. And fishing the north side, in the early season, June, July, I like to fish, an outgoing tide, because a lot of times the water's emptying out of the sound here, or Fort Pond, and it's coming around all these points here on the north side, creating a lot of turbulent water and a lot of current, and that's what caused the fish on the north side to feed. And then on the end of the outgoing, or the beginning of the incoming, I like to fish the south side, or say up front under the lighthouse. So those are just a couple things to remember when you guys coming out here to Montauk and you've never fished here before. Just keep that in mind. North side outgoing and south side incoming. But anyways, this is another closer look at the crippled herring, and it actually doesn't come rigged like this from the store. I actually took off the manufactured hooks and attached a VMC hook, and then I tied my own little bucktail hair on here and put a little glue on the red thread so that I can get this hook on here. And I just find that the deer hair on a single hook just is a lot better action than just a bare hook or just a bare treble hook. But anyways, guys, that was my setup, my rig, and how I was catching fish today. And I hope you guys enjoyed this little video, even though the fish weren't giant. And you know, if you have any more questions, post a comment in the comment section below, and I'll be sure to get back to you. If I'm not getting back to you, I'm probably on the water fishing. But I definitely will take a look at those comments and try and get back to you. And if you have any other questions, you know, most of the questions will be answered right in the description below, so just check that out. You know, conditions, everything like that. And yeah, never forget, live to fish, fish to live. I'll see you guys out on the water.